True crime script, The Green River Killer. In the shadow of Seattle's foggy rivers, a dark figure moved silently, claiming the lives of the innocent. A killer, unseen but always watching, became one of the most prolific murderers in American history. This is the story of the Green River Killer. Before we dive into the depths of this horrifying true crime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our gripping stories. It began in the early 1980s in King County, Washington. The area surrounding the Green River, a peaceful suburb, was suddenly thrust into chaos as bodies of young women started to surface. Their lives were brutally ended. But by whom? The victims, many of them runaways or women involved in prostitution, were often strangled and discarded like trash near the riverbanks. Their killer? A seemingly ordinary man blending into society. For nearly 2 decades, he remained nameless, faceless, and untouchable. His method was chillingly consistent. He would lure vulnerable women into his truck, often under the guise of soliciting their services. Once alone, he would strike, overpowering them with brutal efficiency. Many of his victims didn't stand a chance. After killing them, he would dump their bodies in wooded areas near the Green River. By the time police found the remains, any clues left behind were cold, washed away by time and nature. Between 1982 and 1984, the bodies piled up. Over 40 victims were discovered, each one drawing the Seattle community further into a state of fear and paranoia. The police were desperate for leads. The case grew more complex as investigators worked tirelessly, interviewing hundreds of suspects and combing through mountains of evidence. But the Green River Killer was always a step ahead. The lack of physical evidence frustrated law enforcement. However, one man soon became a person of interest, a local truck painter named Gary Ridgway. He had been arrested multiple times for soliciting prostitutes, but the evidence was weak. No charges stuck. Yet, suspicions lingered. For years, Ridgway continued to elude capture, while the bodies kept surfacing. Victims like Marcia Chapman, Opal Mills, and Cynthia Hines were just a few of the many who fell into his deadly web. As time passed, the trail of the Green River Killer grew colder. However, the advent of DNA technology in the late 1990s changed everything. In 2001, nearly 20 years after his reign of terror began, Gary Ridgway's DNA was finally matched to evidence from several of the murders. It was a breakthrough, one that would finally bring an end to one of the most extensive manhunts in American history. Ridgway was arrested in 2001 and during his interrogation confessed to killing 71 women, though the exact number could be higher. The cold, remorseless nature of his confessions shocked even seasoned detectives. He told investigators he couldn't remember most of their faces. To him, they were just numbers. Ridgway, real audio clip. I killed so many women I lost count. In 2003, Ridgway pled guilty to 48 counts of murder, one of the largest single cases in U.S. history. His cooperation with authorities spared him the death penalty, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. To this day, Gary Ridgway remains incarcerated, and many families still mourn the loss of their daughters, sisters, and mothers. The Green River Killer may have been caught, but his legacy of terror still lingers in the shadows of Washington state. Though Ridgway is behind bars, the horrors he left behind remain fresh in the minds of those who lived through his brutal reign. His story is a chilling reminder that sometimes evil can hide in plain sight. If you found this story haunting, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories that delve deep into the darkest corners of human nature.